Hi Leo, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your September 2021 Mercury Retrograde reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Leo be affected by the September 2021 Mercury Retrograde? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. There we go. I like that. Just pops right out. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, once again. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what these cards have to say. We have the Mystic, which is the High Priestess here within this deck. This is the Lost Forest deck. So the High Priestess is coming through. We're seeing things that other people aren't. This with Mercury retrograde, there's an intensity to us. We have to be very mindful during this time, Leo, not just to say what we're seeing, because it can come out wrong. It can be lost in translation. So at our root, the veil is being lifted from our eyes. We're much more intensely intertwined with things than we usually are. So that's going to be something that can be overwhelming. It's going to be something to be very mindful of, but it's also going to give us such an insight, such a power during this time. So yeah. And then we have Temperance, which is Sagittarius energy, balance. We have to balance the energy of the Mystic, the energy of the High Priestess, with everything that we're discovering during this time, with the chaotic energy of Mercury retrograde. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be complex. We then have the Priestess, which is the equivalent to the Sun in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. There is the sense of beauty and coming together and passion and innocence and power and determination and this cycle of change, but also this cycle of greater understanding of self. There's also a brilliance to us that we kind of see. We're like, wow, I'm really on point, but we kind of don't want to say because we don't want to take ourselves by eyes. So that's going to be funny. It's going to be like, I don't want to take away the blessings that are around me. We then have the Eight of Water. We're moving into a new adventure. We're walking away from a place that was warm and cozy and that we thought we could be forever. Now we're stepping into the great unknown and saying, yes, why not? Why not move forward this way? It can be scary too. There's a sense of a hesitance around our hearts, around the way that we're moving forward, around the way that we're seeing ourselves. We then have the Page of Cups, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. If we're born on the cusp with with Cancer, or we have water sign energy within our chart. This is coming through very powerfully at our heart. We become students of our hearts more so than ever before, just as with Temperance. If we have Temperance within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully at our root. Then we have the Nine of Wands. We can feel caged in by others, and it's almost like a cage of our own making. It's like I have set up everything I thought I had wanted, I desired, I needed, and now I'm looking at it and being like, maybe I don't want this. That's also why the inner self is ready to take on a new adventure, ready to move things forward. We also have to be mindful of how much we're listening to others, of who is influencing us, and who has our best, who has the best, who's watching us, like who has our backs, the best interest. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. That's what Spirit wanted me to say. Saying, who has our best interest at heart? How is it that we're moving forward? What is it that we're moving towards? It moves us then to our public arena self. And we have the Eight of Swords. We get way too much in our own heads during this Mercury retrograde. We can psych ourselves out better than anybody else. So we really have to be mindful of that. And then we have the Five of Pentacles. It's psyching ourselves out and bringing us to a poverty mentality, a sense of, I can't have this, instead of, yes, I absolutely can. And, Leo, we don't like that mentality, the poverty mentality. When we find it coming up in our lives, it makes us very aggravated. It can make us, overly aggressive in certain areas, because it's like, I'm not going to be held back, I'm going to show you type of thing. We just have to look at the root cause, as we always have to do in things. Where's the doubt coming from? And where's the poverty coming from? And why? Was this something that we grew up with? Was money always really scarce? Did we always hear our caregivers fighting about money and saying, oh no, we can't do this, we can't do that, all because of money? And then with the Eight of Swords, why are we getting so much in our own heads? Why are we, stopping ourselves or holding ourselves back? And why? Who has spoken negativity over us? Who has cursed us? Because that's what a curse is. We like to make curses into these big, boogie monsters. They're not. They're negativity that people have spoken over us. Generational curses spoken over our caregivers over time, and made this into a reality because they got in our heads. They distorted the way that we saw things. And this is a time where we're saying no. There's a really big and powerful no going on here. Now let's look at the energy we have to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels. The Prince of Pentacles. Hidden words around money. Now we can do this. We can be guilty of this during this time because it's going to cut both ways. Always. Excuse me. When it comes to energy to be mindful of, we have to be mindful of, hidden words around money. Either we're not going to want to divulge things to certain people, and we just have to be mindful about it because there is a sense that we can be easily swayed over people, or that we can psych ourselves out when it comes to finances or what we value as much as money, in a really intense way during this time. So we, again, have to be mindful about this. We also have to be mindful that there are going to be people who are going to try and hide things. Now, this can be in contracts, because remember, Mercury retrograde, has issues around contracts, so we have to be doubly mindful about that. We have to be mindful about double speaking, people saying one thing meaning the other, or saying things in such a certain way that they didn't lie, they just weren't telling the truth. So really, really, really be mindful of that. Here, Leo, make sure that you are looking over everything really, really closely, really intensely. You should, if it's a really big thing, get a lawyer, get somebody like that to look over things and make sure that you're aligned in the best way possible. And then leads us to our chakra energy, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Okay, we have two. We have love, the heart chakra, and truth, the throat chakra. We have to follow what we love. That is going to be really important. We're students of our hearts. We're students of the way that our hearts are moving us forward. Then we have the throat chakra. We need to open up to our truth, to what we desire in life. We need to stop hiding things from ourselves and say, this is the truth. This is what I want. This is what I desire. Because we're actually going to see that greatly affects, oh my goodness, that greatly affects our public arena self. If we are open and honest with ourselves, if we can, say things bluntly, as the Buddha said, speak plainly, No, Confucius said, speak plainly. Name things clearly and plainly. And that's going to be really powerful for us to say, this is what is needed. This is what I desire. This is what I want. I'm claiming the truth and I'm saying it plainly and powerfully. That excels us to the next level. It really, really does. Now, let's get into this Mercury retrograde. It's like no other Mercury retrograde. Why? Because it's positive with the planetary alignments and the star alignments, and it's also, the chaotic mess that is Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde sees technology breakdowns, can see personal breakdowns. It has nervousness, anxiety, travel delays. We can just find ourselves stuck in traffic more. We can find that things don't run as smoothly and we lose things. So it can be just a really frustrating time. Nervousness and anxiety plays out in the public arena. We are going to have a tendency here, Leo, to make things a little bit bigger than they are and put things more on our shoulders. So we have to be mindful of that. If we can talk to a professional during this time, that would actually be really stabilizing for us. A spiritual guide during this time would also be really great, or a friend just to, or a family member just to ground us would be amazing. Now, Mercury retrograde happens 3 to 4 times a year. Luckily, this year it's only happening 3 times, and it lasts for about 24 days. We can find ourselves dwelling on things, and we can also find ourselves dwelling on the past, reminiscing, and kind of looking at things through rose-colored glasses. Oh, it was better when. Oh, I should have done this better. I should have done that better. In one sense, we want to go back to the past. In the other sense, we're not going to let ourselves off the hook for the mistakes in the present. So that can be draining and overwhelming, and we have to stop that. We just absolutely do. Double check all emails, all posts, all letters you put out into the post. Double check everything before you send it out, before you post it, before it goes out onto the internet. Just double check. It's going to be so important for you. It's going to be so beneficial for you if you can actually leave things and do it the next day, or like leave any written things, like any emails, any posts to put out, and say, okay, I'm going to look at them, leave them for 24 hours. Maybe for some of us, leave it for a week, see when we come back to it. Are we as mad? Are we as frustrated with this as we were in the heat of the moment? Don't send anything out in the heat of the moment, because Mercury retrograde makes things blow up. It's just the way it is. If you can avoid signing contracts, or make sure that you're reading them really closely and have maybe even other eyes going over them, like a lawyer's or something like that, that's going to be really important. Now, the shadow period of Mercury retrograde started on the 6th of September. On the 6th of September to the 27th of September, we have the shadow period. And in this shadow period, you will have gotten an idea around something controlled by Mercury. And what happens, and this is going to be in the aspect of thinking, speaking, contracts, or travel, what happens is it's going to come up again during the Mercury retrograde. So we just have to be mindful about that. And we can see here that we see deeply into everything, and we're going to have a tendency to want to kind of build up walls around us and to say, I can't take this anymore, like it becomes too much. We have to not do that during this time, because we have to let ourselves be able to move forward and say, wow, you know what, I've weathered storms really well. I've had bumps and hurts and pains along the way, absolutely, but I'm still moving me forward. I'm still getting to where it is that I need to be. On the 27th of September, we're going to talk about the stars here. Okay, the alignment of the stars with Mercury during this time. The planetary alignment of Mercury is in the full moon readings, so you can definitely check those out. I'll see if I can, link them. If I remember, I will definitely do that. But I don't want to make this too long and just overwhelm you guys with all the information, because this is rather intense. Mercury is going to be conjunct the fixed star Arcturus. Now, Arcturus is the star that attains justice through power. And you know what, Leo, we're all about that. We're all about justice through power. It brings riches, it brings esteem, and it brings determination. And again, those are all things that we can get behind. What we have to be mindful about being conjunct Mercury being conjunct the fixed star Arcturus is that this promotes lasting success that we can see in a very positive way through a positive higher energy vibration. If we come to things in a really good mindset, we can see our success lasting, we can see our richness lasting, we can see prosperity really moving us forward. If we come to it in a negative mindset, we see ourselves being overwhelmed. And the reason why this is important is we see ourselves being overwhelmed financially in the public arena. So we really, really, really have to be mindful of our energy, being mindful of the mindset we're coming to things with. Yes, the road has been hard. It always is hard. But what we have to know here and say here, that there's an opening of the door. I'm not staying in a caustic, toxic environment. I'm just not. It moves us then into Mercury conjunct the fixed star of Spica. Now with this star brings success, renown, riches, fames, and a kind nature. So who doesn't like the star? But we have to remember that it's to different degrees. Everybody's going to be affected by Spica, but it's going to be to a different extent. So you can have a really grumpy person who isn't quite as grumpy during this time, or a really nice person who just seems super, super sweet. So we just have to know that it's all going to be relative to the person and to their energy vibration and the path that they are on. So it's going to be success, renown, and riches. Everybody's not going to have the red carpet rolled out for them and money just being thrown at them. Though I do wish that for everybody, the money being thrown thing. It also is going to have us more connected with the arts and with science, and it brings a love to these areas. It just brings this sense of beauty and revelations. But this can also be a really hard time if we have an innocent nature, if we have a kinder, gentler nature to us, because this star is all about aligning ourselves with power. And we have to be mindful of not so much aligning ourselves with power and forgetting what we stand for, what our voice means, how we want to move ourselves forward. This also brings, with Spica, also comes an increase of psychic and intuitive abilities. It opens up the doors. It's like, wow, I really have insight. And here with the mystic at our root, we really have insight. And that can be overwhelming. It can be a little bit disturbing. We can think, oh my gosh, how do I know this? How is this guiding me? And we really have to step into this energy and own this energy and not let it own us. This is a great time for scientists, writers, and artists, any sort of creator, any sort of innovator. Now, Mercury goes into stationary direct on the 18th of October to the 2nd of November. This is another shadow period. And with this shadow period, in the planetary alignment, we have the planet of Mercury sextile Venus, which is beautiful. I mean, this is all about love and charm and the energy making us feel good. And it's like follow your heart type of thing. And we love that. We're a student of that. And we're like, yes, this is it. This is what I love. This is what I need. This is what I want. This is a time to follow our heart. This is a time to follow our peace, to put down roots in where it makes us happy. Now, this isn't to say that the struggles won't come and things won't be hard and challenging, but the reasons why we're doing this, they have to be the guiding force forward for us. The reason why we're opening up our heart is going to be so powerful. Now, Mercury is also going to be trine Saturn, and this brings determination and achievement. It also brings a little bit more level-headedness and embracing the playing field of the waking world. We see things that we have had a hard time completing, projects that we've had a hard time completing, things that we've found it hard to be disciplined around. Now we start to get ourselves together and say, yeah, I can do this. And we do it. So that's awesome. The star aspect, when the star alignment of this stationary direct time, this is going to be a little bit more tricky. This is, again, where we have to be really mindful of having a positive energy vibration, because Mercury is going to be conjunct the fixed star Vindimatrix. There we go. I hope I'm saying that right. And if you come to this with low energy vibration, Vindimatrix just takes complete advantage of your energy, just takes completely advantage of you. It brings melancholy, it brings hastiness, it brings impulsivity. And so here we just have to be mindful of not having an impulsive energy, of not being hasty about things, and of trying to look at the brighter side, of not letting anxiety and nervousness and melancholy just take over. That's going to be really important. And if we know that we're prone to this, having somebody that we can talk to, having somebody who can help with this, maybe going on homeopathy, meditating, whatever we need, that can start to ease this time. All right. Now, Vindimatrix also makes us drawn to the darker aspects of life. The darker things, the more macabre. So we can find ourselves watching a lot of true crime. We can find ourselves watching horror movies and murder and this and that murder mystery things, but like the really intense gruesome ones, not the cozy murder mysteries. If you need a good murder mysteries, look at the cozy murder mysteries. Look at like Brokenwood or Murder, She Wrote, or Columbo or something like that. Just the ones that are more upbeat. Those would be good if you need your fix. But don't go to the dark side, because it can just pull you under and it will really mess with your energy vibration. Mercury conjunct the fixed star Porima. Now, this is really, really cool because this, if you come to it with a high energy vibration, it lets you see the underhanded side of people without being drawn into it. It's like, oh, I see the game that you're playing. Oh, I see your tricks. And because we have the high priestess, we're already predispositioned to see the underhandedness of things. Now, if we come to this with the lower energy vibration, it makes us, it can make us a warrior. It can make us, just think that we have to work harder, we have to do more, or else everything will fall apart. And that's just not going to be the case. We have to be kinder to ourselves during this time, even though during this Mercury retrograde, we're going to want to be super intense on us and think, you know what, you just have to accomplish it all. And that's not too much to ask. That's a lot to ask, Leo. Be kind to you, and you will be surprised at how beautifully things start to align. Now, with the mystic, with the high priestess, the veil is lifted. We are seeing things so much more intensely, so much more powerfully, so much more personally than we were before. We're also not putting up with people's BS. So that's a really great thing. We're not falling into their lies and their traps. And even if we have in the past, or even if we sit there and we have, been taken in by them, we're going to think, that doesn't add up, and that doesn't add up, and why this and why that. And then it's going to be like, okay, you know what? This doesn't make sense. And I'm not a fool. So there's a power here in embracing this understanding of looking at things more deeply. Spirituality is going to be so important to us. Following a spiritual path, following a spiritual ideal, connecting ourselves through meditation, through being out in nature, that's just going to be beautiful. And if we can embrace that, if we can, walk outside barefoot or do barefoot shoes or something like that, we will really find that we connect more and more with the earth. We connect more and more with our own sacred power, and that becomes beautiful. It leads us to temperance. It leads us to finding the balance within the mighty side of us, or the side that is perceived as being mighty and the side that is perceived as being weak. We start to balance ourselves. We start to harmonize ourselves, and we start to see that the part of us that is perceived as being, powerful, the saber-toothed tiger, can't go all the places that the mouse can go, as the mouse can't go all the places that the saber-toothed tiger can. And so we need that balance. We need that harmony to ourselves and to what we are developing and how we are moving forward. The priestess comes into play in our inner selves. There's a beauty and there's a light to us. We're going to have a tendency not to see it. Others are going to take us by eyes because they see the beauty that is shining within us. And because we have this tendency towards self-doubt and self-recrimination, we take the light away. Don't take the light away. Embrace your beauty. Embrace what you desire from life. Embrace your celebration. If you want to go outside and dance under the light of the moon, do so. Do things that make you happy. Do things that align you with the energy of sacredness and beauty and, just even silliness. If you just, want to have a good laugh and you want to do something silly, like dancing under the light of the moon, if for you that's silly, do it. Do it to raise your energy vibration. Do it to lighten up your heart and, not take, everybody takes themselves so gosh darn seriously. Don't. Let yourself be free to make mistakes. Let yourself be free to push the envelope. Let yourself be free to shine and explore and embrace, because we're on this adventure that is taking us out of our comfort zone. These little tiny sea turtles, I don't know if you've ever watched, baby sea turtles heading towards the ocean. It's sad because so many don't make it. There's so many predators that come along the way and so many hurdles to be overcome. But we're on this journey. We're on this journey to go into the ocean, to go into the expanse of our spiritual awakening and our own love for ourselves and our own desires and emotions and movements to the heart. And now we're discovering it, and we're discovering who we are and where we want to be and what we want from life. And it leads us to walking away from things. It leads us to saying, this is enough. I'm okay here. And now it's time to move me forward. And then brings us to being a student of our hearts. We might not want to be a student of our hearts. We might think, I got this. I got this. We might be only concerned with the battles of the waking world, everything that we need to get done, everything that needs to, be pushed forward. We have to make time for our hearts. We're going to find inspiration in the most unlikely of places. Embrace it. Embrace it and be inspired. Push the envelope. Move forward. The 9 of Wands is like, okay, you know what? Everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks they're right. That's great for them. But embrace what you desire. Embrace what you need. Embrace what you want. Embrace how you're moving forward. Embrace the fact that you're still standing. After all that you've been through, all the hardships, the pains, and the disappointments. Life is hard, but there is power to us. And The hardships that we go through, they build the compassion. They build the connection. If you've ever met a person who hasn't truly struggled, you can tell that about them. They don't connect the same way. They don't have the same connection, the same compassion that a person who has truly struggled and has walked down roads that maybe they never dreamt of walking, walked down roads that were hard and intense and overwhelming. There's a different depth to them. Embrace the depth. A lot of times we look at the scars and say, I don't want any scars. I want everything to be perfect. Here's the thing. No body goes through life. No body, our physical body, and nobody goes through life without scars. It would be an oddity for us to reach the end of our lives without being scarred physically, one way or another. It would be something that people would comment on. Papers would be written about it. And so here, it's like we go through emotional scars. We go through battles. We need to respect them instead of wishing that they never happened. Instead of hiding them away, we need to say, this was part of my journey, and this is part of me, and I don't get to hate me. I don't get to hate me. And then it moves us to the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords is the doubt and the fear and the negativity and the hurt and the pain and the thinking that we are restricted when we're not. Thinking that we have to stay in this box when we don't. Now it's time to open up the door. Now it's time to push the barriers. Now it's time to move forward. With the limitations maybe seen within us, and it's like, okay, I see you, but I'm not being defined by you. It moves us then to the poverty mentality. In the public arena, we have to see where the poverty mentality comes from. Why we walk away or don't turn to, excuse me, a warm, safe place. Why we don't have that connection. The Five of Pentacles is like, okay, where does this fear come from? Is it around money? Is it a fear of lack? Is it that we didn't have a lot of money when we were growing up and so I have to hold on to every penny? Is it a sense of maybe even just being overly extravagant because I'm rebelling against this and now I can do whatever I want? And so we need a balance. We need a balance that isn't a reactionary response around prosperity or what we value as much as money. That's going to be really important during this time, not to have just simply a reactionary response around prosperity or even the lack of prosperity. Our subconscious energy to be mindful of during this time is the moon. Now, this is Pisces energy, so we might have to very much be mindful of the intensity of the power of the moon around us. And that's the full moon that lasts for 2 weeks. The intensity of that moon lasts for 2 weeks after the full moon. So until the next full moon too. So we might have to be mindful about this, but it's also of the shadow side of us and the conscious side of us, the complexity, the intensity, the determination, of how we want to move things forward and the way that we see shadows. And are the shadows the monsters, or are the shadows the opportunities that need to be worked on, sculpted until they come into light, until they come into focus? Because Leo, that's an astounding thing, to be able to sculpt from the shadows. And that's going to be where a lot of your power lies during this time. And then moves us to our subconscious chakra energy, and that's the inner child, the heart chakra, coming up once again. And the heart chakra is saying here, embrace the inner child, embrace the child that you once were, fall in love with yourself again. And the exercise that I love to do when the inner child comes up is just visualize me holding my arms open to the child that I was when life got hard, when I lost loved ones that I never thought I would lose because I was small and, loss wasn't a reality. When people mocked me and hurt me and didn't understand me, I hold myself open as the adult that I am today, my arms open to that child who needed somebody to hold on to them and say, I see you, I love you, I will always see you, I will always love you, I will always be here for you. And that's what we need to do for ourselves. It is such a beautifully powerful thing. It's such a game changer. And I wish that change and that connection for each and every one of you. It moves us then to our subconscious rooted self. And it's the moon coming through again Pisces energy. Again, the sense of enlightenment, of understanding of shadows and brilliance and a calmer light. Not the intense light of the sun, but the calmer, steadier light of the moon. Our subconscious inner self is the Four of Earth. This is my vampiric energy card, but we're setting down such roots, such determination, such, focus and power, that the vampiric energy is falling away. That we're being able to say, I see where the stagnation is, and I'm not ruled by that anymore. It brings us then to our subconscious emotional self. And that's the Queen of Pentacles. Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But prosperity being planted within our lives. Nurturing it, embracing it, moving forward within it, opening up the doors. Being crowned by love, prosperity, and success. Our subconscious public arena self is the Eight of Pentacles. Our hard work pays off, and we have opportunities coming forward. Don't deny yourself these opportunities, because we have the repeat of the number 8. We can work super hard. We're going to be super focused on work, but we are also going to be so serious, like so determined in one certain way, that we can miss the blessings in another. So just be mindful of that. But the hard work, the determination, the craftsmanship, becoming better and better and better, that is definitely coming into play in something that's beautiful. All right, Leo. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. So let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power, the beauty, and the complexity of this Mercury retrograde. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Leo, and may you have a blessed Mercury retrograde.